Fertile fields will be completely destroyed, as when a sick man wastes away, and the remaining trees of his forest will be so few that a child could write them down. He may be talking about the Assyrian soldiers. God says, I'm going to show you my power and my ability to even destroy you. God shows to the wicked the fact that they will not repent even if he shouts from heaven. Now let's apply this to America. Where are we here in the great United States, a nation that has been so wonderfully blessed by God? After the terrorist attack, church attendance increased. I'm told now it is lower than ever, but thankfully not here at the Moody Church. You know that our attendance has been growing during the last years and continues to grow. And every time I'm here, I see the balcony come out further and further and further, and I say, God be praised, God be praised. But across America today, what you find is a decline in church attendance. And so what we have is just a blip on the screen. The Tribune, after 9/11, came out with an article that said it's okay to talk about evil now. It even suggested that maybe we lived in the end of the postmodern age where evil was not admitted into public discourse. But somehow all that is forgotten and lost, is it not? And what we have in our society today is taking out God's laws. God is being pushed back onto the reservation. The public square is being scrubbed clean of anything that has to do with God. God is not supposed to inform or to govern or to control what politicians might do. And that's the nation in which we live. I want you to know, regardless of what you think of Judge Moore in Alabama, whom I met yesterday, by the way. I was speaking at Promise Keepers in Atlanta. 15,000 men at Promise Keepers in Atlanta. You want to hear something that's good about America? Think back to what God is doing in so many different areas of this great nation. But Judge Moore, who was there, was telling us and showing us really, and I spoke to one of his attorneys, that constitutionally, if you look strictly at the Constitution, those 10 commandments had a place there in the Supreme Court building. Those commandments, constitutionally, should have belonged there. Now, we can argue whether or not this was really the cause to fight and say this or that, but I'll tell you what is happening is there are judges in America today who are no longer interpreting the Constitution and interpreting the law. They are making up the law in the United States of America. Now let me ask you, what happens when law no longer rules? The vacuum is filled with power. Let me give you an illustration from our childhood days. 4th grade. Here's me. And I have a teacher by the name of Mrs. Watson. Mrs. Watson was a meticulous disciplinarian. A good teacher, though. Good, fair, but tough. She had certain rules for our playground, because we used to play various games that I won't tell you about because I'm in a too good a mood right now to go into that. But the rules were, you shall not hit one another, you shall not talk naughty to one another, you shall share all of the equipment, the sports equipment, and so forth. And every once in a while, she came out of the schoolhouse during recess just to check on how the kids were playing. And we played reasonably well. Very few hassles when Mrs. Watson was there with her rules. Now, let's suppose we say, these rules sound Christian. In fact, Mrs. Watson, God bless her, she is an informed Christian, and we can't have those laws. And so what we need to do is to take the rules, and we need to get rid of them, and we need to get rid of her too. Now let me ask you a question. Whose will survive out on the playing field when the rules are no longer there and no one enforcing them? You can answer that. The school bully. Whatever he wants will go. And I'm going to speak to you candidly. In America today, there are people who do not respect the rule of law or the rule of morality, and they are into one thing and one thing alone, and that is power. Well, my friend, today, this is Pastor Lutzer. The whole relationship between church and state is much more complicated than we sometimes want to make it. Because on the one hand, while we have to respect other religions and give them freedom of conscience, the fact is that the Judeo-Christian base of America cannot be doubted, and now we're moving from it. Well, in these closing seconds, may I urge you to simply pray for this great country. May we return to those truths that have made nations great. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Lutzer. Erwin Lutzer has given us part 2 of God and the United States, another in his 6-part series on God and the Nations. Tomorrow, join us for some final thoughts about how far the land of the free has moved from the God of the Bible. Running to Win comes to you from Chicago's Moody Church to help you understand God's roadmap for your race of life. Our current series can be yours on CD, cassette, or MP3. For full information, call toll-free at 1-800-215-5001. That's 1-800-215-5001. When you call, ask about God and the Nations. For information about many other ministry resources from Moody Church, visit our website at runningtowin.org. Don't forget, Running to Win is supported by listeners just like you. This is Dave McAllister. Join us tomorrow for our next edition of Running to Win.